Would you believe it? This is our 100th fishing report. We're down here at Eden showing off the boat that they're giving away in their annual fishing competition. They've got about 800 people fishing in the comp, so we've seen some really good catches this week. So let's see what we've caught in this week's Boss Outdoor Fishing Report. Well, that subtly has kicked right in today. I think anyone fishing the comp now is probably refined to the estuary systems or in close to shore. There's a little bit of westerly in it, so you might be able to stay in close. But yeah, the estuary system is probably going to be the go. We've seen some really good catches in the systems, but still some beatable fish there. And the estuaries are fishing really well, whether you're all the way down in Womboyne or up in the Bega River, everything's firing at the moment. So we've seen some red hot estuary fishing this week. I know I went out yesterday and just anchored and burleyed in the Merimbula channel, some trevally and some bream, just floating baits back on an unweighted hook just in the burley trail, and the bream just take it. There's some stonking big bream in Merimbula at the moment, and the trevally, there's always plenty of trevally in there. Well, haven't we seen some great jewfish fishing the last little bit? Whether you're fishing the Kaya or all the way up here to the Bega River at Tathra, there's been some great mulloway caught. So get in under the bridge, into that deeper water, and put a bait down. Generally a strip bait or a livey will do the trick for you. So yeah, just you want to fish that change of tide is always the best time for them. Worth fishing the other times, but the change of tide is when you see the most fish. The flathead fishing has got so much better too over the last week or so. We saw it dip off there a little bit, not so many big fish getting caught a couple of weeks ago, but they are back at the moment. We've got some big duskies getting caught. So whether you're fishing the Bega River, there's a fair few in Merimbula, all the way down to Eden, it's worth either flicking some plastics around. So many of these big flatties fall victim to a big soft plastic. So if the prawns are running a prawn profile or any other big plastic at the rest of the times, just get them a little bit heavier than you normally would. Make sure you're bashing that bottom. Those big duskies will pick that plastic up. Well, it's so productive at this time of year to chuck any sort of bait really off a beach near you. So if you just want to soak a bait and catch some salmon, there's plenty of them around at the moment. If you've seen the salmon come into the Merimbula system and go back out, we know Adam Harris, our staff member in Merimbula, has just been fishing off Bar Beach there, and you just wait for the salmon to come in. You don't even have to fish all the time. You can see these big schools come into the estuary, have a few casts while they're going past, and then go back to having a coffee at Bar Beach. It's pretty good fishing. Seen some really good numbers of whiting, sand whiting getting caught this week. So off Merimbula main beach, if you chuck a sandworm out, so you probably want to catch your sandworms on the airport straight there, and then just chuck them in the beach there somewhere. Pretty much anywhere on main beach is going to hold whiting. And if you can get some burley and chuck some burley out into the surf while you're fishing for them, you're going to get the fish to stay around in that area a lot longer, therefore maximising your catch and getting heaps better numbers. So that's well worth it in Merimbula this week. If you want to chase something a little bit bigger and a bit angrier, there's still plenty of sharks around. So whether you're fishing off the beach or out in the ocean, just burley up, bring them to you. There's plenty around. Lots of the time in closer, you're going to get the smaller sharks. Get out wide if you want to chase some big boys. So the subtlety is blowing, but there's still plenty of places to get out of it. If you want to fish some rock walls, just got to get onto the northern side of a headland. So we all know there's heaps of headlands. Go to your normal headland that you fish off. Just jump on the northern side of that. Whether you're going to go down and fish off the rocks for some drummer or blackfish, or tuck in there in your boat, you might have to come across a windy bay and just get into those protected areas on the northern side of a headland in your boat. There's plenty of squid around. The squid fishing has been really good this week. Yeah, and drummer and blackfish, and you might even float a bait out for a king, or those salmon have been absolutely everywhere. Near the wharf in Merimbula, it's probably on the wrong side for this wind, but the salmon off the wharf there are just absolutely spectacular. They're big fish and there's plenty of them. So Tathra Wharf is definitely one of those headlands that we're talking about, a big headland, and the Tathra Wharf is on the northern side, so you look at it and it's nice and protected. You're away from that southerly, it's not too cold. There's plenty of frigates around. People have been catching little frigate mackerel. Great fun on tiny little lures and light gear. The bonnies, there's still heaps of bonnies around. Heaps of smaller bonnies. There's a few bigger ones in the mix, but lots of smaller bonnies. There's occasional kingfish, so you always want to be geared up, ready for them. People chucking liveys off the wharf and they'll hook up to them every now and again. And the squid fishing. The squid fishing is absolutely world class off here. There's heaps of weed off that end corner. So chuck a squid jig out off there, you'll come up tight with a nice feed of squid. So it's probably not till Saturday that we can get out there and really get amongst those ocean fish again. This southerly is pretty rough, and I don't know, I don't want to go out there in that. But from Saturday on, all week looks absolutely mint. There's not much swell and there's hardly any wind, so that'll be really good. What we did see this week when people could get out was some amazing fishing. The snapper, Les Aikens, caught that 60 centimetre snapper, should win the Eden comp, I think. What a great fish, fishing out of Merimbula. And then trolling the headlands, there's been heaps of bonnies and salmon. The flathead fishing was spectacular. We saw last week or the week before, sand and tiger flathead were really hard to come across. There was heaps of donuts, people going out there catching nothing, where this week was the exact opposite. We fished a couple of days ago and just double hookups all the time, heaps of 50 centimetre fish, not many undersized fish. Just what you expect from the South Coast fishery, really. Just unbelievable world-class flathead fishing. So yeah, fishing outside's been really good, but yeah, I'd give it a miss till Saturday. The marlin fishing this week was pretty good as well. There's bait out there. The bait is still quite small. The marlin will eat it, but they'd much rather a bigger bait. So you got to get to the bottom, get through those schools of smaller fish. You'll get a big slimy on the bottom, and then you're a way better chance of catching a fish. They were on balls though, like the bait balls were kicking around and the marlin are eating them off them. So you just got to spot those birds eating off a bait ball, race over there, chuck a bait into them. It's super exciting fishing, and there's still a few around. Well, that wraps things up for our 100th Boss Outdoor Fishing Report. A big shout out to everyone that's ever been involved in our report, whether it's you guys sending in a video or a photo or just feeding us some information to get back out there, to our staff that go fishing all the time, absolute experts in their field and they know what they're doing, to Jamari, who steps in when I'm not around or just comes and does the report even when I'm there with the stuff that he's better at, and he does so much fishing. Azza for his little reports, Dave for jumping in and helping out, Adam for creating so much content for us. A huge shout out to Cara that's behind the camera that makes it all look good. A big shout out to the man I like to call Buddha, Andrew Badulovic. You guys know him as Ando, the guy that started this report, made it such a professional outfit, put it all together and catches more fish than most people I know. Yeah, for all of those things coming together and creating this report, thanks so much guys. If there's anything you need to know, fishing, camping, everything outdoor related, come into Boss Outdoor so we can hook you up.